Though they have proven themselves in today's times, superhero movies used to be a big gamble for major studios back in the day, and for every movie that is able to get made, there are many that are never able to grace the big screen for themselves. And so here are the top 10 canceled superhero movies. Let's begin. Number 10. Stan Lee's Ant-Man. When Ant-Man first premiered back in 2015, it quickly became one of Marvel's biggest hits. But 30 years prior, Stan Lee wanted to make his own Ant-Man movie. The movie was said to be based on the original Ant-Man comic written by him and Jack Kirby, but the studio passed on the idea due to the script having too many similarities to the newly released Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and the world missed out on what would have been a really great Ant-Man movie. Number 9. Batman Triumphant. Even though it was a sequel to the infamous Batman and Robin, it didn't sound that bad. Just hear me out, okay? So the villain was to be Harley Quinn, played by Madonna, and Scarecrow, played surprisingly enough by the actor Nicolas Cage. The story was that Harley Quinn was the daughter of the Joker, out for revenge for his father's death. She teams up with Scarecrow to drive Batman insane. George Clooney was going to return as Batman, but this time without the help of Robin and Batgirl, as they were said to be heading out to college. The final hallucination would have had Batman in Arkham Asylum being judged by every one of his last villains. Yes, you heard that right. Every one of his last villains were set to appear and judge Batman on trial. That would have been amazing. Number 8. Spider-Man 4. Even after the critically panned Spider-Man 3, Sony still wanted to create a fourth Spider-Man movie. They sought out the help of Sam Raimi to write and direct the next movie. The villain of the movie would have been Vulture and Felicia Hardy, played by Anne Hathaway, but instead of playing Black Cat, she would have been a female version of the Vulture named Vultress. Sam Raimi ended up leaving the project, and Sony went the route of the reboot. Number 7. Joss Whedon's Wonder Woman. In the late 2000s, Joss Whedon was set to direct his own Wonder Woman movie. The film would have had Diana and Steve Trevor falling in love in World War II times, but Joss Whedon left the project due to the overwhelming amount of hate he got over his script. He ended up directing the Avengers, and we eventually got a Wonder Woman set in the DCEU. So it all worked out in the end. Number 6. Sinister 6. See what I did there? Putting Sinister 6 at number 6? Okay, first a little backstory. With Marvel successfully creating their own cinematic universe, Sony wanted to create their own universe centered around Spider-Man. They planned a Venom spin-off movie and a movie about the Sinister Six. The film was all about all the Spider-Man's old villains, plus some new ones, teaming up trying to kill Spider-Man, but Sony cancelled its cinematic universe due to the flop that was The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Interesting enough, this film would have came out the same year as Suicide Squad, so we would have gotten two films about villains teaming up together. Number 5. The Wachowski Brothers' Plastic Man. Yes, there was going to be a Plastic Man movie made by the Wachowskis. Let's talk about that. Back in 1995, they were set to write a script for an upcoming Plastic Man movie. The Wachowskis later commented on it, saying that it was the closest thing they had ever made to a comedy. The film was cancelled for unknown reasons, but the Wachowskis said in an interview that if they had ended up making this movie, they probably wouldn't have made The Matrix a few years later. This film makes it on the list for just how bizarre it is. Number 4. Batman Year 1. Before Batman Begins and after Batman and Robin, Warner Brothers were looking to reboot Batman. They brought on director Darren Aronofsky to direct a Batman Year 1 movie. The movie would have had an R rating, with Batman originally rejecting his family's wealth, feeling like he needed to earn it first. The studio didn't like the script, so they ended up just dropping the film entirely. Number 3, Spider Man the Movie. Wait a second, I hear you saying. There are lots of other Spider Man movies. What makes this one so special? Well, this was actually the first attempt at a live action Spider Man movie ever. Now for some history. In the 80s, Canon Studios wanted to identify themselves as a major movie studio, so they decided to make their very own Spider Man movie. They got as far as a poster and a small 20-second teaser for the film. Unfortunately, Canon ran out of money before they were able to finish the project. Number 2, Justice League Mortal. Out of all the movies on this list, Justice League Mortal probably got the farthest in development before getting canned. The film was to be directed by George Miller, the director of Mad Max Fury Road and Happy Feet. The story was that the Flash, played by Adam Brody, was the newest member of the League, facing a mysterious new enemy trying to turn the team against each other. With this movie getting the farthest in development, there are a lot of leaked photos that were released, like concept art, costume design, a clay mold of Martian Manhunter's face, some storyboards of Wonder Woman and Superman fighting each other, and a photo shoot of Megan Gale as Wonder Woman. Sadly, the film was canceled due to the Writers' Strike of America, and the film disappeared into obscurity. Number 1, Superman Lives. Now we come to the king of all cancelled comic book movies. The film would have starred Nicolas Cage making his second appearance on this list as Superman, with the visionary director Tim Burton to helm the project. The film followed the famous Death of Superman storyline, with Brainiac releasing Doomsday to kill Superman. Now, I'm not going to go too much into detail on this because there's already a full length documentary about it called The Death of Superman Lives if you want more details on it. And that's my list. Did I leave out any canceled comic book movies? Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you next time.